to a very English craft room and another episode in the scrapbooking series. Today we're going to be looking at a scrapbook page of a day we had in Rome where my daughter was getting water from one of the free water fountains that are available for people to top their bottles up in Rome. So firstly, I had gathered together some paper, some pattern paper and some embellishments and some word titles there. I'm going to use most of these, but not all of them. I chose some of the orange bits because I wanted to pick out the couple of orange items in the photograph, one of them being the bag my daughter was holding. The photograph shows Emily getting some water, topping up a water bottle from the water fountains that are provided free of charge in Rome, and they provide either still or fizzy water. I think that's quite a nice idea really, and saves you having to buy an expensive bottle of water whilst you're out, and it was quite hot even though it was October. The paper that I have got immediately behind the photograph there has got little water droplets on it. The next one there has got sunglasses because Emily was wearing sunglasses. And this one's a little bit like clouds because although it was very hot there was a couple of clouds in the sky but not many, so a nice sunny sky. This next sheet I looked to see whether it would go on the page, but in the end I decided against it and actually put it out the way. And then I'm just trying to find a green sheet that I like because the actual water fountain machine there was actually a darker green. This little piece of card has got cameras on it, and the colours actually picked out most of the colours that were in the rest of the layout, so I want to use a little bit of it. I don't use all of it, I cut it into an L shape later so that I'm only using the little bit that I actually see. It was a really lovely day out we had in Rome. We'd taken a coach from the cruise ship, had been organised by the cruise ship as one of the excursions, which was a Freedom in Rome, so they drop you off in Rome quite close to the Colosseum, and then you can walk around and visit where you want during the day and meet the coach at the allotted time. I think it was about 6 o'clock in the evening, so I think we had from about 10 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock in the evening in Rome, which was quite a nice length of time, and they provided us with a packed lunch as well, which I will scrapbook a page about that and video that for you soon. So I'm using the T-square here just to set the photograph on the backing paper there nice and straight. I hadn't quite got it central, so I was just going to trim a little bit off the edge there just to make it a little bit more symmetrical. Once I've done that, I decided I was going to ink the edges, and this time I'm using a toffee colour around the edge. It gives a little sort of antique look to the edges of the paper and looks like they've been handled a little bit and got a little bit dirty maybe. Inking the edges also gives a little bit of definition, and in mine and many others' opinion actually gives quite a finished look to the page. It's one of those things you don't notice it's there, but you kind of notice when it's not there. So on our day out in Rome we saw the Colosseum and the Trevi Fountain and Spanish Steps. Obviously we threw some coins into the Trevi Fountain to make sure that we returned to Rome, and we also had a really nice gelato as well as our picnic that we'd been given by the cruise ship. We also saw the Pantheon and many piazzas and statues whilst we were there. We walked lots and lots and many thousands of steps, can't remember how many exactly, but we certainly made the most of the day. So now I'm trimming down the papers and inking them up. I'm trimming them down so I only use the bare minimum so I can save the rest of it for another layout, because I don't have much of that particular paper. So now starting to build up the layers behind the photograph, making sure that everything is straight as I do so, that I've inked the edges and that I have enough of the paper showing for each design, but not too much. It was really lovely to spend a few days holiday with my two grown-up children. It's something we haven't done for many, many years since they were children, and it's the first time that I've been abroad with both of them together. Emily had been to Lanzarote with me in the past, but James hadn't been abroad with me. In fact, the flight out to Barcelona to catch the cruise ship was James's first flight in a plane. He had been in a helicopter before when he was volunteering for one of the local mountain rescue groups. It really was an absolute pleasure travelling with them as adults, and for once I felt I didn't have to organise everything or take responsibility for everything when we were on holiday, and indeed they both looked after their mum. So this time I'm using some blue ink. It's a Tim Holtz Distress Oxide ink that I'm using there with just a little applicator. So still building up the layers, trying to make my mind up which way around it goes. Sometimes I put it one way and then completely forget when I actually get to stick it together which way around I've put it. So I've been to Rome a few times as part of cruises. I've been with Emily and James, and I've been another time with my mum, and once I went on an excursion on my own. I was on a cruise with my husband, and he didn't fancy the long hot day in Rome, so he stayed on the ship and relaxed. So you can see that paper with the cameras on it I've cut into an L shape so that I'm only using a little bit more than what will stick out from the edges of the other layers. And there I am again inking it again with the toffee colour that I'd used on some of the other layers. The bit of this layout that seemed to take the most time was the preparation of all the layers and sticking them all together. The actual embellishments didn't seem to take much time after this at all. Whereas on other pages, sometimes it takes me forever to sort out the embellishments. So today's the 8th of March, and we've started on the first step of Boris's roadmap out of lockdown for the final time, hopefully. And today some of the children have gone back to school. I'm currently on a few days annual leave as we're not vaccinating this week because we vaccinated all the staff in the categories that we were allowed to vaccinate. So we're now waiting to restart on the second round of vaccinations, which will be in the last week of March. I somehow thought it would be easier to stick this green paper down first before trimming it so I could get it trimmed exactly where I wanted. However, as you can see, it actually meant I had to peel the other layers back and try and trim around it, and I got the trimmer stuck on the double-sided tape. So actually, with hindsight, it was not the best thing to do. Likewise, if I'd trimmed it before sticking it down, it would have made it so much easier for inking the edges as well. So I think there's a lesson learnt, although maybe not, because sometimes I forget these things. So finally got all the layers stuck down, and now I'm going to stick the paper and all the layers onto the backing paper, as you can see here, using the double-sided tape and using my handy dandy dental tool there just to remove the backing. The orange bag there that Emily's holding is one of those shopping bags that packs away into a little pouch, and the little pouch for this one is actually Nemo. So when we were getting ready for going out for the day and we were looking for things to pack into bags so that we've got an extra bag if we do any shopping, etc., we would say we were trying to find Nemo. So now I'm trying to decide which title to use, and if I want to use both of them. The black one says the good stuff, which I thought was quite apt for water, but the aqua one there says so cool, which again I thought was quite good for water, and actually you could say it was a play on words because it was so cool that we could actually get water for free from a water fountain rather than having to pay for it. So in the end, that's the one that I go for. The little light bulb says bright idea or something like that, which again I thought was quite good for this layout, and it echoes the colour of the bag there as talked about before. So there's a little cutout there of a bottle of water and the sun at the top there because it was quite sunny. I'm going to use the green paper to do some journaling. I'm just trying to decide where I'm going to put it. I'm actually going to cut it into journaling strips and then apply it to the page. So as you can see, I'm now using the trimmer to cut centimetre wide strips of paper, and then I shall write my journaling on there and cut the individual words into little bits before sticking them on. So now I've cut all the individual strips, I'm going to try and decide where they're going to go, and I do spend a few minutes trying different ways to put them. They actually end up underneath the sun in the end. So I just noticed that this layer wasn't stuck down properly, so I just used a little bit of double-sided tape to stick it down. I had tried repositioning things which had torn off a little bit of the packing paper there underneath where the light bulb is right now, so that kind of decided the position the light bulb would have to go to actually hide up the mark that was there. So now looking at where we're going to position all of these different embellishments. Do you know, it was such a lovely sunny day, couldn't really be much different from how things are outside right now. The wind is actually blowing quite strongly and there's quite a bit of rain against the window here. So I was trying to use some of these flowers that have got sort of a pinky burgundy colour to them because well, Emily's hair was a very sort of similar colour to that and her top had got those colours in it. However, I just felt that actually leaving it with just the sort of bluey tones and the orange was probably better. And again, I thought the camera was just a little bit overkill there, and I know I can use that on other layouts. So I think this is probably about it for all the different embellishments that I'm going to put on. So now I'm going to start inking them up, those that I haven't inked already, and actually get down to sticking them down. This little die cut water bottle was absolutely the perfect embellishment for this page, don't you think? In fact, when I saw it in the packet, I just knew which photograph it was going to go with. So now I'm just using the little dental tool there just to lift things up to put other layers underneath it. It's ever such a handy little thing and costs £1, well, probably less than £1 if you wanted to use the other items that were in the pack with it, but I bought them specifically for this purpose. So now starting on the journaling, telling the story of the picture and how the Roman council there had decided to put 10 of these water stations around the city, and actually as well as being able to get water from them, if you trust it, there are little lockers on the other side that you can pop your mobile phone into, lock it away and charge it. We didn't give this a try, A, because we weren't really sure how safe it was, and B, it would have taken up some of our time in Rome standing around waiting for it, because I don't think we would have trusted it to have left it for that length of time. You can see there's quite a pile of embellishments still left over on the right hand side there, including one that says October, which would have toned in quite nicely. However, I think the page is quite busy enough with what it's got. They're quite large embellishments and the papers are quite busy too, so it didn't want to overwhelm the picture too much. And I think by just having a few there that are water related, weather related, and with the orange there, really just pulls your eye into that picture. So I used my Xyron sticky maker to pop all the little bits of journaling strip through, as you'll see in a little while. I just got disturbed from making the audio part of this by a Amazon delivery, and I'm assuming it's a Mother's Day present from one of the children, with it being Mothering Sunday here in the UK on Sunday. So thank you to whichever one of them it was that sent me that little package. So I've run all the little individual bits of journaling, of the little individual journaling strips through the Xyron sticker maker, and now I'm just placing them where I want them. This is actually so much easier than using double-sided tape for this sort of purpose, just because you can't guarantee that the journaling strips are going to be the same width or smaller than, bigger than the tape, and you would end up with bits of tape sticking out, which isn't always very pleasant to see, and then can stick onto other things, including the page protectors from your scrapbook. Again, using the T-square here to make sure that the journaling strips are parallel to each other and run nice and straight across the page. I'm tucking them under the other embellishments where I can, so it looks like the embellishments are floating above them, but trying to make it so you can still see all the words from the journaling, which actually does mean I move the butterfly a few times to try and make it fit around the journaling. However, I also didn't want the butterfly to impinge on the photo space too much. I don't mind covering parts of the photograph, but obviously I didn't want to cover my daughter's head by the butterfly. Some people steer clear of sticking the embellishments on any part of the photograph. However, I think sometimes it can actually help to emphasise the photograph and break up that solid white line if you've used a border on your photograph, which sometimes I like a border there and sometimes I don't. In this case I quite liked it, and it helped to pick up the white in some of the backing papers and embellishments. I don't know about you, but I'm actually really looking forward to be able to partake in some international travel again soon. I do have some trips planned for later in the year, and fingers crossed that with vaccinations and things we should be able, towards the end of the year or towards the end of the summer if we're lucky, be able to have some international travel. So that's completed this layout for today, so just tidying up a little bit there, and here you are in its full glory. I thank you for joining me here in A Very English Craft Room, and hope that if you have enjoyed this video that you will click on the like and subscribe buttons so that you will get notification when I've put another video on YouTube with scrapbooking or some of the other crafts that I have done videos on. If you like travel, why not check out my other channel, which is Travel With Me, Fruit Loop Films. And I hope to see you again soon in A Very English Craft Room.